What is going on, everybody? It is Tuesday, and welcome back on in for 0 Hour. I'm your host, Extra Zero, and I'm going to be bringing you all the Transformers news of the week that I found interesting that I want to discuss with you fine people. So before we get into the show, if you're watching me here live on YouTube, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. I would not be able to do this show if not for all the awesome people who tune in each and every week, whether you're watching me here live or you're watching me on the replay. I really appreciate it. I thank you from the bottom of my heart. We just hit 300 subscribers here on the channel, and I'm really appreciative for all of you. I'd love to hit 500 in the near future. It was the goal for the end of the year, but I know I've been lacking on content, working on fixing that. But as I've mentioned over the past couple weeks, I got a lot of life stuff going on, so it kind of is what it is for now. I'm going to try and get some extra stuff out, but if you want to stay in the loop, make sure that you're subscribed and make sure you ring that notification bell so you can get alerted when I go live on the channel. I got to hit up Lance because I know we wanted to have a discussion video, and you know, I definitely want to knock out more of the ranking videos, as well as some of the discussion videos, like what the primes can be retooled into, as well as just talking about. We want to get a panel together and talk about, does scale actually matter? Lance is an advocate of just getting, you know, whatever sizes are fun, whereas as a collector, I like to adhere to scale. So we want to get kind of a moderated debate on the channel, which I think would be a lot of fun. Before we get into all of the news of the night and this week's figure of the week, want to ask, if you do like what I'm doing here, make sure you hit that like button because it does help me out in the algorithm. And if you have the ability to, maybe consider hyping up this video. And before we get into it, make sure you pop into that live chat over there. We've already got Princeton Phalanx hanging out with us this evening. Now, I started a little bit early, but if you're watching me here live on YouTube, pop into that live chat. We'll be highlighting your comments throughout the course of the show. So let's get into it with this week's figure of the week. And this week's figure of the week is a really cool one. This was sent over to me by Junkion Crafts and Builds. Mike Rogers, you know him, you love him. Good buddy of mine. He picked this up for me. And this, of course, is the Walmart Retro Card Back Sea Spray. And man, what an awesome update to one of my favorite mini bots. So Sea Spray is done up in a very, very toy deco here, and this is really awesome. I don't know what it is with the plastic that they used on this, but it is really, really good plastic. I love these updates to the mini bots done in the deluxe scale. I've really, honestly, like I do, not the biggest fan of fans toys, but I do always love their updates to the mini bots. And I think there's just like really something nice about when Fans Toys and Takara Tomy, or I guess Hasbro, really update the mini bots into like more of a deluxe scale. As you see here, I'm starting to transform them because this is actually a really fun and intuitive, simple transformation. There's really not much to it, and that's the other thing I love about the mini bots, right? Is because, you know, we know them. There's a lot of character in the designs that they put into them on the cartoon. And part of like when they get updated, a lot of that character comes through. Now, obviously, as I mentioned, this is more toyetic, but also this is kind of a pre-tool for the Age of the Prime Sea Spray, what we know is coming. Really, there's, you know, Sea Spray is probably one of the ones that, you know, looks more like cartoon accurate in even his, you know, base G1 mode than most of the other mini bots. They really, when I was a kid, I used to think like, why is it Sea Spray looks like the cartoon, but you know, the other ones don't. Now, of course, years later, we all know why, how the designs got translated. But Sea Spray always kind of held like a, you know, all the ones that like looked more like their cartoon counterparts always like held a special place in my heart. And also Sea Spray was just a very unique transformer for his time. Even to this day, we still don't get many boats or, you know, aquatic vehicles to speak of. So it's just always interesting having something that's a hovercraft. And here we go. It's a little challenging to get him on camera, but I'm close. And there he is in his hovercraft mode. And this is cool. And yeah, so this guy right now, he's showing up in Walmart. He's not going to be hard to find. Mike told me that he's coming just to a case himself. In fact, he didn't even see the toy version of Brawn yet. So a lot of people are reporting that Sea Spray is coming on. You can get them on Walmart.com. If you buy them in the store, make sure you get a price check or a price match if you can, because for whatever reason, the store is ringing up at the incorrect price. In store, they're selling him for $29.99, and he is supposed to be $24.99. So also, too, if you go into a store, you're probably not going to see him selling initially because they've mispriced him. Again, it's a very, very well done figure, and I like it quite a bit. But make sure that you're not getting paying an inaccurate price. That's it's funny too with Walmart. They typically try and keep the prices low. We've kind of seen that with like Alpha Trion coming out. They hadn't upped the Voyager price to the new Hasbro prices for any of the Voyagers or any of the Deluxes. But here, for whatever reason, with these retro cardback guys in store, they've like made them more expensive than what even Hasbro is proposing. But yeah, nice little hovercraft. I mean, the only thing I don't like is that like the head is kind of just here. You turn it around, but definitely a really fun figure, and I'm digging him. I'm digging him a whole lot. And you can even see here the toy version has the silver paint with the Autobot Tampo on there. With the Toon version, they have a different head, and the Autobot insignia will be up there. But still, this is really cool. And even if he's not like totally toy accurate or Toon accurate, you could put this up with your other mini bots right now, and he's not going to look too out of place, even being a toy deco. But that's why the retro cardback Sea Spray is my figure of the week, because he's just a really, really fun deluxe. He's really well done. This plastic quality is really second to none. Fun little transformations. You can see I just did it on camera. And I'm digging him. He's been a despot, but he's going to join the other retro guys. And just that, God, I'd love it if they did a Missing Link Sea Spray. I know it'd be, I know it would be excessive, but I love that little G1 toy so much. I want them to do more Missing Link mini bots. I think that would be awesome. But if you are interested in this guy, I do recommend getting him. Just don't overpay for him. He's a ton of fun. He's a great Sea Spray. A great addition to your collection. So before we say hi to chat, let's just go over a couple quick things real quick. Last week, we had a really, really fun episode on the show. And that was because we did the 1 year anniversary of Zero Hour. So if you missed out on that episode, it's still up for the replay squad. We had my good friend, John Hansen, the Jack Nerd. He was on here. He's up. He runs Fanboy Studios. I've been a guest on his podcast back when he did it. He's been busy with some work-life stuff, but he does stop motions and just does some lives every now and then. Really good dude. I recommend checking out his channel. Of course, we had Junkie on Crafts and Builds, really good friend of mine. And we had Patriot Prime and T-Man 978. And I'm sure everybody watching knows who they are. So that was a good show. We went almost 2 hours just hanging out, having fun, and just talking about the current state of Transformers. So if you haven't watched that one, I highly recommend checking that out, because it was just a really, really fun discussion. And we don't have much convention news. We don't have much coming out of TFCon Chicago. We don't have our exclusives revealed, but we did get one additional guest announced, and that's Michael Dobson, who everybody knows from the Unicron trilogy is the voice of Starscream. Probably one of the only characters in the Armada trilogy that kind of channeled the G1 influence. Big fan favorite for a lot of people, including my friend, the Jack Nerd. This was their childhood Starscream. He's going to be doing a Q&A panel as well as autographs and I believe photographs at the convention. So if you're a fan of the Unicron trilogy, probably a really good opportunity to meet him if you're going to TFCon Chicago. Also, I didn't know this until reading, but he was also the voice of Signal Flare and Breakdown as well in Cybertron and Energon, respectively. So let's say hi to chat. We already got Princeton in here. It's always good to see you, my friend. Hope you're having a great night. We got Mario Roca coming in saying hello, Extra Zero. I'm going to watch this stream and not really ask, but yeah, you're fine, man. I hope you're having a great evening. I know it was difficult for me to get to everybody last week just because I don't normally have a full panel on. We got Snap Right coming in saying, how's it going, Extra Zero in chat? Always good to see you, Snap. Hope you're having a good night. And Princeton saying that he sells Sea Spray and Brawn in store today. Yeah, I probably will get Brawn. I like the toy version of Brawn. I'll probably get him to keep on the card back. But cause I'm probably gonna put those down, in my stairway with just hang those on the cards. But yeah. I like what they're doing with the retro card back stuff. I'm curious if they're going to try and resell, even though he's a leader class. I'm curious if they're going to do it with larger ones like, Sandstorm, that toy deco. Because he came out originally in Legacy, one of the retro packaging. They've done it before. I still have the Headmasters in their retro packaging. All right, we got Amazon Prime Day, or the Prime Big Deals Day is what they're calling it. We do have some Transformer sales going on. So this is reported by TFW. If you missed out on any of these are primarily the Amazon exclusives. So they've got the Fistotron and Carnivac set, which I think, honestly, of all of these is the best one to get. Fistotron, obviously, being Iron Fist. They can't call him Iron Fist for the same reason they can't call Venom. But you can get that set for $42.49, 15% off. They also have Top Spin and Spinister, which is probably the second best set in all of this, also for $42.49. Then you can get the Bludgeon and Ruckus set, which really isn't that bad of a deal, to be honest, for $26.99, 55% off. They also have the Mayhem Attack Squad, which I believe is I think that's the one with Breakdown. And then you can get the Naruto set, Breakdown, and Lord, I'm forgetting. I always forget his name, but the Needle Nose repaint. And you can also get the Naruto set for $39.49 at 28% off, which again is, I think, a really underrated set. I'm not a big Naruto fan, but I love Beast Wars. And the Gamichi one, which is I guess a pre-tool of the probably now canceled core class Spidor. Really, really good figure. And the Kuruma one's not bad, despite being a retool of Cheetor, which I think is kind of a weak figure. Talking about this last week, I had read this on Facebook in one of the Transformers groups, but now we have a report that all of the Omega Prime replacements are seemingly going out to people that had issues. So hopefully I hear from G Tony soon and I get mine. But what's interesting is there are a couple controversies. We will get to the controversies on this, but first and foremost, if you had sent your Optimus back, some people like Benson Yee of BWTF.com sent the whole thing back only to get just the cab. So if you sent your whole Optimus back, make sure you get in touch with Hasbro customer service to let them know you sent the whole thing back. Now, for me, I didn't send anything back. They just told me to hang on to it, which I think is the case for most people that reported the issue. Also, I had a little bit of problems getting help with customer service because, mine was gifted to me by G Tony, and because it was gifted to me, I wasn't the one that made the purchase, so I couldn't report the issue to Hasbro. But he did, and he had sent me the email, so I have to get in touch with him and see if he is getting anything back. But if you happen to send your Ultra Magnus in or report an issue with Ultra Magnus, they're sending that back. And what's interesting is people are reporting that it's got a more consistent deco, particularly better paint on the white gauntlets. So I'd be curious to see if there's any comparison pictures, because there's not in this post. But what's interesting is, again, here's what to expect. This is what you're going to get in a small box that says Optimus Prime A or Ultra Magnus. And, people are showing just how it comes. And there you go, Optimus Prime. Now, what's interesting is some people have opened this figure up and they found that there aren't any new or remanufactured parts. Instead, what's been going on is Hasbro in-house has been doing the fixes that people prescribed, basically trimming this notch here and sanding down the sides. So a lot of people are a little bit worried that there's not going to be longevity to this fix. But again, it's very much a, we shall see here. So I'm curious what Hasbro will do if this fix doesn't work out and people have breakage issues with their new ones. I am hearing, and this does state it, that this was from Drunken Fish 6 on TFW, saying that the shoulder motion, where you pull the shoulders out for the combined mode, feels smoother, but noticing that this internal mechanism feels rough, and then upon opening it up, finding that it looks like it was just kind of sanded down now. I might get brave and open mine up when I get it. I might just do the fix on my original one, and we'll see, just to be preventative, because as I mentioned, I'm going to leave. I'm going to have one, just take those base mode parts and have a super mode Optimus as well as a Mega Prime. So we'll see how this winds up working out in the long run. As Princeton mentioned, and as evidenced by my figure of the week, thank you again to Junkie on Crafts and Builds. Sea Spray and Brawn are hitting Walmarts. So if you were on the hunt for these guys and you didn't want to go through Walmart.com, they are, again, if you go on Walmart.com, you don't have to contend with that potential $29.99 pricing error. But if you do want to go and find these guys in store and pick one out, especially if you want to find one with a good card, they are now showing up in stores. And also, if you head on over to Target, last week we talked about the More Than Meets the Eye collection showing up. These had a street date of October 5th, so that was lifted this past Sunday. And Target Circle also put out a deal where if you spend, if you make a purchase over, I believe, $75, they give you 20 off. So if you are on the hunt for this 4-pack, you can get $20 off if you're a Target Circle member. And it seems like it's showing up in most Target stores right now. So again, that is the Age of the Primes 4-pack with Nemesis Prime, Horrible, which is why most people want it, Bumper, and the toy version of Ultra Magnus, which I'm sure the toy version of Ultra Magnus, somebody's going to be making armor for it. Hey, we got Mazda hanging out, telling me that I'm old. Of course I'm old. We knew this. But you're going to have Unk status before you know it. And then what are you going to do? And we got some new photography from Takara Tomy, where they've got their Age of the Primes. Takara Tomy still carrying Age of the Primes and Studio Series, as well as some MPG stuff here. We get some really new professional pictures of some of the coming figures, Quintus Prime, Quick Strike. Obviously, Takara is just selling, Sideways as is, Blast Off, the MPG Soundwave, Studio Series Arachnid, and of course the rest of what we got here. I forget what they're calling. Is it Jalopy? Yeah, Jalopy, and of course Sure Shot. So Quintus Prime, I think this is the first time we've seen him in actual, any actual photography of him. I still think he's going to get retooled in the claw jaw. I can kind of see it, especially being a deluxe. I can just see them turning that into a squid pretty easily. But I think he looks pretty good. Curious how he's going to actually stand on a shelf. I'm guessing that this piece folds down as a base. It would be cool if we got a Beast Machines Botanica out of this too. But definitely very squid-like. Well, actually, no, I can see. They did give him legs. I didn't notice the legs before, but he does have legs, which is pretty cool. So then we get Blast Off. I love the really gigantic Decepticon insignia on the chest. I'm curious, too, if that's going to end up going on to Bruticus. If they're going to actually take these pieces and let you make the chest crest for Bruticus out of pieces of Blast Off. I think it would be awesome if they did that. So, Blast Off looking really good. Then we get Sure Shot, which, again, Target Master. Pretty cool. It looks like that's probably a holdover from Siege. I think that was that Singe. Not really sure if we're getting an original Target Master or there's Reaper. No, this is a new one. Because if this was a Siege one, he would have more articulation. But I'm fine with that. I don't need a hyper articulated Target Master with a regular deluxe. Would have liked a little bit more paint, but at least they picked out the eyes, so that's cool. And I think Sure Shot looks pretty good, if not, generic. Hopefully we get rubber tires on this guy too. They're probably not. It looks like they're probably just going to be black pieces of plastic the way they clip on, but we got spoiled with really got spoiled with Beachcomber. The one I'm most excited about, because again, I love me some Beast Wars, and this is a fantastic looking Quick Strike. I think this might actually be the best looking Quick Strike anybody has made. Just even with the third party efforts, it's looking really good. I love the fact they put a 5mm port in the middle of his claw hand there, but just everything looking good about this guy. I can already imagine Lance telling me that he's buying 2 of these so he can give him a larger Cobra arm. And of course, DNA probably will do that as well. So maybe Lance, instead of buying 2, let's wait for the DNA kit. We get Sideways here. I can't tell if he has more paint or not. I mean, it may just be the nature of the photography, but it looks like he might have more paint than what the Walmart exclusive one got. But it probably is just the photography. But I legitimately can't tell. Yeah, it's probably just the photography. Then we get Jalopy, which again is a repaint from Legacy. Yeah, but hey, another one for the Junkion Army. So I know a lot of people have been building those up. I'm also surprised Rekgar isn't here. Then, of course, MPG, I think 17 or 19. MPG 19 Soundwave, which we got pricing on. It looks like he's going to be about $160. So this is one I'm passing on. But, again, I do think the deco is fine. I just wish they had changed the mold. I mean, you can make the argument, well, Soundwave is good enough. But, I have the Robot Paradise Soundwave. But again, like, if they're going for any sort of accuracy, they could have remolded these forearms. They could have remolded these leg panels, just smooth things out to make them look, more tune accurate. Fix these hips. This engineering in his hips it's a product of its time, and this is a 10-year-old figure at this point, and it definitely feels the part. They could have re-engineered these hips to function a whole hell of a lot better. But you do get the new Energon Cube as well as the blank, the chest piece that came with the original. They repainted the little reader thing, and of course he's still getting the pink cassette tapes. And then there's Arachnid, who we saw recently on display. And she looks great. We're getting close to rounding out that core cast of Transformers 1 figures with her and Alpha Trion releasing soon. Definitely looking forward to picking her up. I'm going to be a lot more choosy with my Studio Series stuff, but this definitely looks like they put in a lot of effort for a deluxe release, and it'll be cool to close out that main cast for Transformers 1. And, again, as I mentioned, they're really knocking out of the park with these mini bots, and we get a look at Windcharger here, who is looking pretty good. I think he looks a little gappy and hollow in spots, but I still think he looks the part, and definitely really pulled off that mini-bot toy car look that he had. Like the effects piece he comes with. And in general, I'm pretty excited for this one. And we already know that they're gonna get a tailgate out of him pretty quickly as well. So those are the new ones that they showed off through Takara Tomy. But more interestingly, we got a kind of a stealth drop. These kind of came out of nowhere, especially this guy. So these pre-orders are going up relatively soon. These are part of the Walmart October Collector Con. I've heard October 17th. October 10th. So later this week at 10 a.m. is when these are most likely going up for pre-order. So this is not when I first saw this, I kind of did a double take. I was like, are they redoing the core wheelie in a tuned deco and charging a deluxe price? No, upon closer inspection, this is a brand new mold for wheelie. So we're getting Wheelie in the toy colors, which at first I thought like, oh, I literally thought they were going to take the core one and then upcharge it because Hasbro being Hasbro. That way, people who have the blue Grimlock that got the Toy Deco Wheelie would have an articulated one to pair them with. But no, this is a brand new deluxe. So we're getting a pre-tool for a new Studio Series 86 Wheelie, or maybe it's going to be Age of the Primes, but a more accurate Wheelie all around. So this looks pretty good. You know, again, I think Wheelie's had some okay toys between what he got in Combiner Wars and then what he got in Studio Series with his core class incarnation. But it'll be nice to have a deluxe Wheelie that's a little bit more realized. I wish they had adhered a little bit more close to that Toon Deco, had a little bit more orange on them. But to be honest, I do kind of like how the gray breaks things up. But yeah, we are getting a brand new Wheelie mold. And also Braun is getting remolded pretty quickly into Outback. And even though this is a supposed toy deco of Outback, it certainly looks very close to the show, since really the toy and the show version didn't have too much differences, to be honest. And Outback really didn't appear much in the show. So you can get this and have him be your Outback on your shelf. And I think he looks really, really well done. So there we go. We get a surprise drop for Outback and Wheelie. Then we also had Wonderfest going on in Shanghai a couple days ago, and they had a Takar Tomy display there, a whole bunch of different stuff under the T-Spark umbrella. But most interesting, they have the Nucleon Quest Convoy, and we get a look at how he compares to that Optimus Machina Predaking. And boy, that Optimus Machina Predaking is looking a bit small there, isn't he? So I know this thing's about 12 inches tall, but good grief. Ginrai is not the biggest. So this does look good. It does look great as a robot. But for anybody that knows what they want to charge for this Optimus Machina Predaking, I don't know. We also get a good look at the Missing Link Ultra Magnus. I wish they were posing this guy a little bit more dynamically in display, because, you know, again, aside from the fact the legs are separated there, it does not really look that dynamic. I do like how this Missing Link Nemesis Prime's coming up with this kind of pinkish purple transparent plastic in the windshield. And then we get the MPG-17 Optimus, which really is becoming my most anticipated figure in the MPG line, hands down. The more I see this, the more I like it. This is just kind of taking elements from all the previous Masterpiece Primes and other Primes. And yeah, I can't wait to have this guy I'm going to have him as my Studio Ox Prime. And I just really hope that he's fun to transform in hand. This truck mode is really clean. Nucleon Quest Convoy, I'll be getting him too as a Prime collector, and I think he's looking pretty good. I'm going to be selling off my Fans Hobby one to get this guy. Blockies has a whole bunch of stuff. They're Wave 5, the Defender Wave. So we get a look at a Sideswipe and Sunstreaker there. We get two flavors of Jetfire here, is Jetfire and Skyfire. A Galvatron, more of Sunstreaker, more of Sideswipe. Sideswipe posing on Starscream there. We get the spawn of Unicron there. We get Galvatron, Cyclonus, and Scourge. And just a lot of fun photography going on here. A Shattered Glass Jetfire. We get Reflector, more Cyclonus, Shattered Glass, Soundwave, Jetfire in his plane mode. You can see, or I guess jet mode. You can see, yeah, you can have another figure hold on to the bottom of him. We've seen this Prime before with the little base and trailer. I guess they're doing a full trailer for Prime now with roller, a clear Prime, and this is the fun one. We get vehicle modes for well, not for Bruticus, but for the Combaticons. So hinting that just like with Devastator, you can expect a Bruticus. There's a special armor type Galvatron that comes with a whole bunch of accessories and effects. But yeah, Blockies, again, I don't go too into the weeds with these because, again, they're addictive and I just don't have the space for them. But they are such cool little figures. They're well made. They're very affordable, and they're doing all kinds of cool stuff. And for anybody that just wants to have a bunch of little chibi figures, or maybe just wants to have fun with getting a little collection of Transformers, maybe just watch casually. These things are like $4 a pop, and they're really fun to put together, and they pose really well. Can't recommend them enough. We get more Masters of the Universe crossover figures now. I don't know that I'm going to get these. I like the way that the Skeletor Megatron looks. I don't like how this Optimus Prime He-Man looks. I guess if this goes on clearance, maybe. But just everything about this looks really chintzy. I don't like the Matrix sword. I don't like just the overall look of this guy. But we got our Optimus Prime armor He-Man. I think they could have done something better than this, to be honest, because this just looks like He-Man wearing a cheap Optimus Prime Halloween costume. Meanwhile, the Scareglow Starscream, way cooler than it has any right to look. I get it. They wanted to make He-Man Optimus Prime, but I think they could have executed it better because this just looks way better. The coronation set, the null rays that also function. You can have him in one as null rays, or you can turn him into battle axes. You can give him his crown and cape. Yeah. Or you can even have him handheld blasters. We'll go back, to He-Man. Come on now. This is just... they really could have done better. They really could have done better with this one. But, hey, E for effort. I kind of wish they had done, clear blue on the chest and done something with his upper arms. Maybe had the red armor motif go on the arms, less gray. Just something. Maybe resculpted the boots to go a little bit higher with the vents on there. Yeah, it just feels very unceremonious compared to what they did with the Skeletor Megatron. That's our official stuff. So again, I said it's going to be a shorter episode. We're going to cut over to third-party stuff because on the third-party front, things get a little bit more interesting. This I knew was happening. So this is on the BotCon Twitter page, and that's run by Agabus. So this was posted a few days ago, saying that pre-orders begin October 7th at 1 p.m. Eastern. There will be a bonus option for those ordering the entire Wave 1. This is just the start for Metal Card Bot in the U.S. Make sure you're a part of this initial offering, and thank you for sorting this great line of Machina robots. Now, if you're not aware of what Metal Card Bot is, it is a transforming robot show from South Korea. Why does that matter? Well, Transformers really don't have any competition in the U.S. Well, Agabus had started a distribution company, and we had heard that this was happening with the last BotCon, that Agabus would be bringing Metal Card Bot to the U.S. And we didn't have any details about how or cost. I think everybody assumed that it was going to be import prices. No, it is not. So I don't know whether Agabus is going to try and get these into brick and mortar retail, but these are priced incredibly competitively with Hasbro's Transformers. So we've got the Stealth class, which is essentially like the deluxe class of Transformers with Shadow X and Blue Star. And not only are these similar in size, they don't have the waffles, they're solid plastic, they have gimmicks, and they're coming in at less than what Hasbro's prices are. Go check out Bolt Matrix's reviews if you haven't seen these already. But these are a lot like Armada figures. A lot like them. Then we get the Mega Class, which is kind of like that larger Voyager, or I guess really the smaller Voyager, well, not smaller Voyager, but more like a Voyager or Leader size. Smaller Leader is what I meant to say. At $27.99, $1 more than what you're getting for the new deluxe price. You get Buster Gale, turns into a bulldozer. Then they have the Power Class, which is really kind of comparable to the Leader class of yesteryear, with Steel Hook and Mech Tackle, which really unique alt modes. I really like this pirate ship alt mode. I was kind of eyeballing. I was like, man, I kind of want to check that out. The steel hook, because that's cool. This whole pirate motif with it turning into a pirate ship. There's nothing like that. And then there's neck tackle, which turns into, I believe, a dump truck. And then you got the Road Warrior class, which is their kind of like commander class size. This thing's actually bigger than the commander class Armada Optimus. And this is heavy iron coming in at $64.99. So you're getting essentially a commander class size figure with gimmicks, with no waffles, big, thick, heavy plastic for $64.99. Now, the one thing about these is these are the first wave. So while Agabus did use these pictures, you're not going to get stuff like ankle articulation. These are not the newer versions of the characters. While they're still great figures, I do recommend watching somebody like Bolt Matrix so you know what you're getting into before you hop in on any of these. Because I was like, man, I kind of like the way that heavy iron looks because he's very Prime-like. And he could fit in, as an Optimus Prime or fit in with my Chigokin stuff. But, alas, this is the original one. But still, I think you're getting an awesome value with these figures. And, I kind of hope that a lot happens with them because, again, Transformers definitely needs competition to humble themselves. Competition breeds innovation. And, competition also means they have to compete on prices. So I'd love to see Metal Cardbot or something like crawl up and give them a real challenge. But remains to be seen. Hey, we got Boss Hog hanging out here. How's it going, Boss Hog? Hope you're doing well, my friend. But yeah, if you're interested, these are all still up over on the Agabus site. And I can't recommend Hanny enough. Does really, really good customer service. And the prices are always really good. I don't even think they charge tax on their orders. And the shipping is always really, really fair. So if you're interested, head over to agabus.com. They've got all the Metal Cardbot. And if you do buy all of Wave 1, which is priced not bad at $212.95 for all 6 figures. I'm not sure what the bonus is. And I did read through this to see, is the bonus another figure? It does not say. But it just says to be revealed up here. Again, these are not shipping out until the end of the year or early 2026. So you're going to have to wait if you do pre-order. And with Agabus, I should preface that pre-orders are all paid up front. So just keep that in mind. We get a look at the, I think this is supposed to be Detective, but Defective from DX9, which is their take on an updated Masterpiece style Prowl. And I think this mostly looks good, but there's a few things about it that I think I don't want to say ruin it for me, but really kind of take me out of it. Again, this is better than the official offering by leaps and bounds. But for me, it's the hands. I guess this is more of a comic style head going on here. But yeah, it's really the hand. I like that head a whole lot better. It's far more toon accurate. I like the way they've handled the shoulder cannons on here. They look a lot better than what was on the official. But the way that they handled this clear piece here, and you have the 2 dots, and these toes, I don't know why. I know this is the rear of the car, but why they didn't just leave that a solid piece, and he's got these toes going on. I really don't like that much. But I think it's a good offering as a Prowl, so if the Datsuns haven't been doing it for you with the official offering, DX9's looks like it's going to be a pretty good effort here. No word on when this is coming out, but it looks like it's pretty far along, and they got their Sideswipe out as well as the G2 repaint pretty quickly. I did get to mess with the G2 repaint when I had the last meetup. Partsformer brought his, and I got to mess with it. It's just, I don't know, just in hand, it just really didn't do it for me. Felt good. It was a well-articulated figure, good quality parts, but there's just something about the sculpt that didn't do it for me, and kind of feeling that here. Next up, we looked at this last week. We had another shot, another tease from Fans Hobby for their Darksaber. Now how these look as individual vehicles. And then we also get a look where their Galvatron. Their Armada Galvatron is holding it, and this is supposed to be shipping out relatively soon. Next up, this is available now on AliExpress. This is the QQT Liberations package for the Fans Toys Menasor. And essentially, we looked at this before. This is a much better look. This is coming in at $126.73, but you do get a lot with it. You're basically, if you're buying this and you have the Fans Toys Menasor and you want to have the individual bots on display, but you also want to have a combined Menasor up, this gives you the option. So basically, they've gone in and made, parts for the skeleton, turning him into a faux combiner of sorts. But you can still, without having to buy two or have a whole separate Menasor of it, like whether you got like me, I have the DX9 as my combined one, and then I have the fans toys as my standalone bot. So if you wanted to have those as your standalone bots and get this kit, you can then have Menasor on display with your Stunticons, which I think is pretty cool. It's again, I think this is a bit pricey, but none of this looks like it's 3D painted. It looks like it's very well produced. Did I say 3D painted? I meant 3D printed. But yeah, this as far as I can tell, this looks very well produced. Like they're trying to match the Fans Toys style paint and sculpt. And hopefully there's weight to these, because you don't want to have, especially this back piece that's going to fill in for where, Motor Master would go. You're going to need to have a little bit of weight in there. So I'm sure somebody will be reviewing this soon enough, but really, really neat option. And I think it's pretty smart, especially given how much, the Fans Toys stuff is running people. Definitely a good option for people. Now, Unique Toys, they have a picture of their, and this looks like it's probably close to being released. I'm not sure where this originated from, but my buddy John, who was on last week, sent this over to me. This looks like a very far along version of their Age of Extinction Bumblebee, which I think was just Bumble, or it's like Bumble or Bumble Sting. But of course, it's a retool of the Age of Extinction Stinger. They just put out robot parts of the same, but it's going to have a very different car mode. So we just have this bot mode picture. It doesn't look like the final paint deco, but there is a render of the car, which is very different from Stinger. So he will still turn into that 2015 Camaro, but he's going to have the same bot mode as Stinger, just as he did in the movie. So no info on when this is coming, but I would assume if they've got a picture of a test shot like this, I would assume it's probably right around the corner. I imagine we'll be getting this guy before the end of the year. And we got Mega T-Rex Raw saying what's up, bots, and calling him Sandals Proud. Good to see you, my friend. Hope you're having a good evening. Well, as I mentioned, sometimes we go over. In this episode, we're going under, because that's everything there is for the week. So I may go live on Saturday, depending whether I get Lance. I might just go ahead and stream. I've been wanting to stream Fall of Cybertron. Just go and play it for a bit and just hang out and chat with people. So I may do that on Saturday. So if you're interested, if you're not already subscribed, make sure you hit that subscribe button, ring that notification bell, because if I do go live, you'll get notified there. But yeah, if you liked what I covered tonight, make sure you hit that like button, because it does help me out in the algorithm. And if you are watching me on the replay squad, leave a comment. Let me know if there's anything that I covered that you're currently looking for, or anything that you're excited about, be it any of the stuff that was shown off at Wonderfest, any of the new retro card back stuff. Don't forget that will be going up on the 10th, tentatively, on Walmart.com. Let me know anything you're excited for, or if you're going to TFCon Chicago and you're interested in meeting any of the celebrities there. Well, with that, I hope everybody has a good rest of their week ahead of them. It's been fun hanging out with you. Thanks to everybody in the chat for hanging out. As always, I appreciate you guys. Wouldn't be able to do this without you. I know I run that horse in, or beat that horse into the ground every time, but I truly mean it. And I truly hope you guys have a great week ahead. So until next time, Zero out, and I'll see you all on the next one. Peace out.